What's going on, guys? So within Wing Chun, we have these maxims. The Chinese term for them is kun kut, please forgive my Chinese pronunciation. These maxims, remember, Wing Chun is an orally transmitted system. It wasn't written down in scrolls and books. This is something that is just passed on from teacher to student in a very traditional fashion. And of course, because of that, there's really kind of low standardization in these maxims. We have no idea what ones may have been lost, what ones may have been added later. Of course, does it being new validate or invalidate its existence? There's all these questions, so it's a real big gray area. But one of the ones that comes up a lot is that Bong, Taan, and Fook, the three bridge hands that we use to teach Chi Sao, are extremely important. Now, the exact phrasing of it changes depending on which lineage you're following, which master wrote it down, which English-speaking person or otherwise foreign speaking person translated it. I've heard them called the three terrors of Wing Chun, the three venoms of Wing Chun. In the movie The Grand Master, they called it Wing Chun's three-headed axe. And of course, under my Sifu, we referred to them as the three seeds, which the way that I look at them, I think that is a pretty appropriate term, but maybe that's just the lineage. So here's the cool thing about them, right? What is special about Bong, Taan, and Fook? Well, they operate as guards. Fook means to cover or conceal, Taan means to spread. I generally don't look at it like spreading butter. Any kind of external rotation is a weak movement. We use it more as a wedge. And then Bong, well, Bong can mean wing, it can mean shoulder and upper arm. Most people seem to translate it as wing because they like fancy terms, but it just as equally means shoulder and upper arm. In fact, I have it on good authority that Sam Chan, who is one of the old school Ip Ching students, refers to it as a shoulder technique. So there you have it. It's not just English speakers playing, juggling terminology. But here's the cool thing. You guys know that I play with the HEMA guys, and this is a really cool thing. When I started playing rapier with them, I noticed Bong, Taan, and Fook in rapier. And so some of you may be familiar with HEMA and rapier, and or perhaps even just sport fencing. But if you're on guard, you have fourth position over here, which looks an awful lot like Fook. You have second position over here, which is an awful lot like Taan, and you have first position, which operates an awful lot like Bong Sao. Third position, just straightforward, is really just an on-guard position, and hey, kind of like Man Sao, our asking hand, not particularly bridgy. But you might be saying, well, there's no rapier in Wing Chun, and this is true. But keep in mind, Lung Jan, his family owned a military preparatory academy. What did military prep guys use? Well, maybe not wushu daos, but military guys tended to be spearmen and saber wielders. Those were kind of like your basic grunt weapons. So we could do this with a long pole, and you kind of have those same guards. But even with the saber, you have an inside guard, you have an outside guard, you have a high guard, and these are all point forward guards keeping a threat on the opponent. So when we look at the Wing Chun system, it's not just for Chi Sao, right? Chi Sao isn't fighting, Chi Sao is a drill, and we have to be able to apply those lessons to actual fighting where we start broken, we don't start bridged, and we work from there, and we have to learn how to create bridges, close the gap, all that stuff. These three hands become very, very important, and when you look at them like fencing guards and you start hand fencing with them, it opens up a lot of opportunities. Now, some of you may already be doing that, and if that's the case, more power to you. you're one step ahead, but a lot of people aren't. A lot of people are just playing chi sao and hoping that fills in the gap. It's just not quite enough. So one last thing before I get out of here, because I'm going to try to keep this one short, is, right, if we look at Fu Sao, right, our fourth position, this is covering the center line, right? It literally means to cover and conceal. It's covering the center line, and when we use this, our opponent's arm is kind of on this side of the weapon. When we use Taan, and I know some of you guys do Taan in the center like this, we have good reasons for not doing it that way, but I'll get into that later. Needless to say, Sigun Kwok teaches it elbow on the same line as the shoulder. Gary Lam teaches it the same way, so again, it's not just English-speaking people playing the terminology. When we do Taan, the things are on this side of it. Right? Fook on this side, Taan on this side. Bong Sao really is a backup tool in case they get over that window, that low spot, and we roll and it pushes it off to that side. And so when we look at that, right, just like fencing, spending a lot of time going back and forth between these positions is really, really useful to keep those lines closed as long as things are coming in straight. And from there, we can modulate out into our other things as needed, depending on how the angles change, how the arms and the legs start hooking, because that's going to change things, and so on. So we build that nice foundation in the middle, and it's a solid center foundation, which is really important to us in Wing Chun. And then we build out from there as things progress. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let you guys get out of here, and I will talk to you later. Good journey. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. In the links down below, you can find our social media, and I encourage you to follow us there. Take a look at our blog, where we have articles that go into depth that we just can't do in our video productions. And on top of that, go to our Amazon store and pick out a shirt that you like, and every little bit helps. If you're ever in the Phoenix area, look us up. Come in for a class, come in for open mat, whatever. Love to see you down here. You can find all our contact info on the website. Talk to you guys in the next one. Good journey.